Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up that screen. Oh, mighty Ilus. Have a little update, and let's find out what gives. Mighty Ilus has been stuck in kind of a trough and has been there for many days in a row. We haven't had any new news as far as in the last about 5 days, but we know there's a lot coming. A whole bunch. Now, what we're dealing with right now, and this is hard on penny stocks, it's hard on every stock, is just massive inflation, 9.1%, and it's probably quite a bit higher than that. You know, if you've been to the grocery store or bought gas, you know it's higher than that. And fortunately, but unfortunately, prices are starting to come down as far as at the gas pump. And that's because sometimes the solution to high prices is high prices, because people just can't afford it. So they're changing their habits. They're driving less. They're going on less vacations. They're just doing less. That's bad for the economy. It's good for gas prices because it will lower them, and that should help with inflation. It's the most painful way to get prices down, but that's the decision that's been made. And it's left a lot of people like this.
The ashtray and a paddle gamer, that's all I need. And this.
Yep. All they got's their paddle game, and that's about it. And their thermos, of course. But when you look at the chart on Ilus right now, and we'll probably come back to it, but it's just in this little trough right here, and it can't seem to break out of it, hadn't come down below it, sitting around that 9 cents. And let's take a look at what's going on with Ilus, the company. The big thing that's going on is, of course, their revenue rate is going to increase. Their forecast, which was 40 to 45 million for 2022, has increased to 140 million for 2022. So an almost tripling plus on that revenue, and that's going to be very significant, especially if they can keep their profit margin between 15 and 20% like they have the previous quarters. And let's look at that. As you can see, their revenues were going up at a huge ramp, and they probably still are. We do not have these 4 companies that are part of ERT that are not listed in this Ilus revenue. And it has something to do with consolidated auditing, and we know they're being audited right now in order to uplist to the OTCQB, and I'll be happy with that because I love it when a company gets audited. It makes my position in the company much more comfortable. I always like seeing auditing. But this is not necessarily an accurate number because it's missing those 4 companies. Otherwise, I think it would be up above the 4.75. But that makes people uncomfortable because they see this massive growth and all of a sudden, dunk, it drops down. And that's no bueno. And you see the same thing with the net income. It's great net income. You know, on $3 million, you're at 20%. You're always between 15 and 20% with these net incomes. And you can see they were sort of gearing their way up. That last quarter was great. But this one drops. So even though the margin's good, those 4 companies not being listed is a problem. So until we see that and see how that's handled, all we can do is this.
Well, we're waiting.
That's right. We can just wait. And waiting, you know, it's not that big a deal, really, especially with the stock price at like this. That doesn't bother me. Now, if you're shorting the stock, you don't like that because you can't make any money. Poor things. All they want to do is push the stock down and make you lose money so they can make money. Everybody gets down on them. They just want to hurt you to help themselves. What's the big deal? Did y'all have any mercy for the shorts?
Well, I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
Why, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave.
I guess you don't. One real positive thing is that we continue to see the outstanding shares are staying exactly the same. They're constantly being updated, just like every other company in the OTC, like I like to see. And I'd love to see this number come down. I know they're trying to get it down by offering, moving some common stock into a preferred category, but that offer has not been made just yet. But I know they're going to try to get this number down to help with the share price and to get this outstanding share count down. And one thing that I'm going to be looking forward to, and we won't see it till August 15th, is their second quarter. That's going to be really important to see. I want to see how their revenues and then their net income shows up. I don't know if that's going to have been audited. It may very well have been because they said the auditing should be done by the end of summer, and August 15th is close to the end of summer, so maybe that'll have been audited. And as usual, you can see the short interest the short volume is staying pretty high on this thing. It's anywhere from 40 to 50% on average. It gets as high as 70% and as low as, mid 30s. But that's really a lot of short volume. I don't know why people short the crap out of this stock. It doesn't really make sense, but they just do. Maybe it's out of habit or something. But I can tell you the shorts can't be making money on Ilus right now with it just doing this. There's no money in it for them. And the market cap on this company is still at 115 million. And understand, if they can get up to 140 to 155 million in 2022, that market cap compared to revenue, I mean, this is going to turn into a value stock, especially if they can stay at 15 to 20% margin. That would put them at 30 million bucks. And a market cap of what, 115? That would be a tremendous value stock if this can continue down the path. That's why I'm pretty comfortable holding this company in my portfolio, and it takes up a pretty good chunk of my 10% of the OTC. And I always do the 10% rule, or somewhere in that neighborhood. Sometimes it's higher than that, sometimes it's lower. But I like to keep a nice little chunk in the OTC, but I don't want to go crazy with it because they are risky. But as long as they don't mess with those shares too much in the outstanding share category, and they get these kind of numbers with those kind of margins, this should become a nice price point for me. Now, you got to do what you want to do. It's your money. But for me, I'm comfortable. I've been adding a little bit right in this area. I like this corridor right here to pick up. The lower, the better. But I think it's just going to kind of stick in here until we get some more news. So, like I say, not a ton going on with Ilus right now. It's been kind of a quiet week after a very eventful week last week with JP coming out with his update. But, I just have to have a little bit of patience on this stock right now. It's probably what I'm going to do, just kind of very patiently watch and wait. And I think eventually we'll find out some good positive news on it. But, we'll see. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know to continue to cover Ilus. And if you haven't subscribed, well, I don't get it. I work so hard and you won't subscribe. Anyway. I hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.